guys, welcome to the Next Level Live. Thank you very much for jumping on the call. We very excited about the group that we got to train today. We're starting with my buddy Jack Yu. If you've not heard Jack Yu speak, Jack Yu's been a Hall of Famer. It almost seems like he's a Hall of Famer when we started, Mike. It's almost like he tells us, I believe him, he came from another company. It was selling 150 grand a year, and then boom, started selling 400 grand with us, and that's just what he does every year. He's going to talk to you about what he's doing in the home. Shelly Mason, who I think works with John, right? John Wetmore. He had sent in a video, and she did 40 grand last month, Mike?
40,000 last month.
40,000 last month. Talking about ReliaShield, pivoting, different products, annuities. Chantal Blash, who is now our MedSup. She's our national sales director for medical supplement, MedAdvantage. So she's employed by the corporate office, but she lives in the West Coast and does a lot of work out of there and out of an office in Vegas. She's going to talk to you about MedSup, MedAdvantage. As an add-on, you know, she kind of says, hey, listen, I think you'd find 2 a week. You ask enough questions when you're looking at your final expense appointments, and you can add another sale on that continues to pay year after year, and you're benefiting the client. And again, we've learned that the more products we put in place, the better our quality of business, and that's what this is all about, writing good business for families that they get to keep until they actually need it, or it refunds their money, or whatever the product is. And then Danielle Byrne is going to wrap it up, and she goes through her whole entire in-home. Danielle's been selling at a very high level for years, so certainly somebody worth listening to. So I think it's a very eclectic group, but I think, and I think it's very heavy sales, which it should be, right? We have a lot of momentum right now, and I think that we have a lot of folks that, and I think, Mike, this might be, we have to look when the numbers come in today, might be the first week we hit 1,500 apps in America. Because as of yesterday, we're really close. We got to wait for the entire thing to cycle through, so I think we may have hit it. But we'll announce it if you see something on Monday, and we'll go ahead and do the drawing for the money, and maybe we'll do it on Next Level next week.
Pretty soon, Bobby's going to have to shave his head.
Bobby's definitely going to have to shave his head. Yeah, and you're going to have to shave your beard. So it's just kind of, seems like the agreement. And you agreed to it, so you got to kind of, you understand. I think I heard that. I'm just saying. So I'm really excited, and a couple things I want to say is when you look at the lead opportunities, you look at what's happened out there, you look at the hiring's still absolutely through the roof, and it should be. Mike, I think we're 8 million in June. What do you think? Paid?
Yeah. I think so. We hit it in May in 5 weeks.
5 weeks, yeah.
So I think we'll hit it in June.
And Mike is an eternal, he says, realist. We say pessimist. But he's always the one in the meetings goes, no, not this. I'm just not this month. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to hit whatever you want. Pick a number. But I really mean, I think that it's testament to what we're doing here. It's testament to the difference you're making in people's lives. And, you know, I probably got 3 or 4 people this week that sent something in saying, hey, here's a picture of the house I got, like this week, you know, we moved into this house and this is where we lived before. I'm really thankful for, then they've done the work. It's just, but people changing their lives and doing things that they deserve to do because this is such a phenomenal industry. It really is. It's just an insanely awesome thing to do, going out and helping other people. And when you can do that, and then you can go make a bunch of money for your own family, I just don't know if it gets better than that. So I'm really excited about how we're rolling here through the summer sales conferences and getting geared up. We're doing some amazing things for the annual convention. We're doing vetting of a lot of speakers now, Mike. We found that we want people with substance, not people without it. You know, a lot of people got a lot that they allegedly want to say, but when you start talking to them and figuring out we got some people that I think are going to blow your minds. They're real, which we like. They're down to earth, and they understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. So please keep your ears open, eyes open, listen to train. They're unbelievable. Thank you for tuning in. Huge week this week. We're continuing to break records, so you continue to break your own personal records for you and your family. So now, without any further ado, my buddy Jack Yu.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Jack Yu with FFL Financial in Los Angeles. And I wanted to thank Shawn and the entire team at head office for having me on the call today. And as you can see, I'm in a temporary location. That's because my wife and I are very blessed. We're moving into a new place and we're renovating now. And that's due to the success that we've had with Family First Life. And we really owe it all to the company and everything that Shawn has put in place for us. So today I wanted to just talk to you about some of the successes I've had on the in-home. And if you'd have asked me a few years ago how I would reach Hall of Fame, I'd say that's impossible. I don't think I can. it's due mostly to the systems that we have here at Family First. We've got a lead program that's second to none. We literally have 7 or 8 vendors that specialize in everything from Facebook leads, final expense, life insurance leads, to mortgage protection, and now Medicare. And that's the key for me, is understanding that on a weekly basis, if I'm going to issue pay 10K, I'm going to need to have 20 to 25 appointments. And really the fundamental key to that is breaking it down into leads. And I'm not booking every lead that I get. I'm not even sitting down with every lead that I book. So it's instrumental for me to have a certain number of leads of various types to substantiate that kind of appointment flow. So in the beginning, it was hard to get leads. So I also am not afraid to travel, and that's something I've incorporated into my business. From the early on, I would make sure I could find places where I could get leads, and if it meant traveling 3, 4, 5 hours to get there, that was something that was worth it for me, because if I could turn around and matriculate, 5,000-10,000 volume from a little road trip, it was just a natural progression. And today, still, I'm on the road, partly because I've also incorporated hiring into my travel trips. So I'm able to post ads on whether it be ZipRecruiter or Craigslist or Indeed to get resumes and talk to people about their interest level in finding a new career with Family First Life. And then I can set up a time to go meet with them, talk about what we do, and if they're ready to go, we could jump in my car and we could run some appointments. So this week, for example, I was able to take a road trip. I went to Northern California, which for me is about 6 hours away by car, which is, I still drive. And I booked 20 appointments and was able to meet with one of my agents who joined me for breakfast, and then we went out on a day's appointments together, and it was a good week for me. I was able to turn around 13,000 in submit volume, and that's, again, it's due to the fact that I've been able to make sure that the leads are coming in, and if I can't get one kind, I'll get another kind. So mortgage leads are a lot of what I do, and when you talk about a mortgage appointment, I think the key is in any appointment is having some fundamentals and approach to helping these families. And when I was brand new, I didn't actually have all my verbiage down or know exactly what to say or what to ask. So I incorporated an inventory sheet. It's something you can get from us, and you can feel free to reach out to corporate or our team, and we can share it with you. The inventory sheet looks something like this. It comes in 2 sheets. The first one is a real helpful tool. It describes the carriers that we work with. It has our logo up top. You can personalize it with your name, and it basically gives a quick intro to the company. It talks about what we do, whether it be mortgage protection or final expense. And I tell families, we help families protect their mortgages. We also do every type of life insurance. And finally, I'm planting the seeds by telling them that we specialize in safe money retirement. And that's all just right here for you. So when I sit down with a family, of course, I'm taking 2 or 3 minutes to build a rapport, to make them feel special. And that's my goal, really. It's not to talk about me. It's really to get to know them and make them feel special. I put the spotlight on them. So for me, what's worked is talking about people's professions, whether they're retired or still in the workforce, whether they were in the armed services and they served our country, or if they're a truck driver or a school teacher. I would take a couple minutes just to ask some pointed questions about what it is they like about their job, or some of the details. I mean, if they're in construction, what sort of facilities do they work on? Is it commercial or residential? And how many people are on their crew, and how far do they go to do their work? And that way it just gives them a chance to highlight on themselves. But that's something I think that too many times it goes overlooked. People that I'm meeting, they're married couples. They've been married for 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and it's not your daily topic of discussion when they get home. I mean, They're not talking about their experiences and their careers, and it's the thing that they've spent most of their lives doing, provide for their families, and their grandkids sure don't want to know. So it's something that gets overlooked. So I take a couple minutes, literally, not more than that, to just make them feel special. I'm taking notes on the back of the sheet so that if I go back in a year or two, I have a pathway to follow, and I know exactly where we left off and what they did for a living, and little tidbits that can refresh my memory about who they are. And then once I'm done with that, then I continue to follow the steps that are listed here on page 2. And this really spells it out. Everything from, if it's a mortgage appointment, how much is your mortgage, which is all the lead, of course, and what's the value of the home, how much are you paying for your mortgage every month, and then it talks about their work, their occupation, their monthly incomes, and then it breaks down the health conditions. So there are 3 basic questions that you're asking people to figure out where they're at health-wise, so that you can figure out what product they qualify for. And that's basically, do you have any health conditions? Do you take any prescription medications? Or have you had any operations or surgeries? So once you've gotten a handle on their health, that's when, as a new agent, you can reach out to us, your manager, your team, and we also have a hotline, as a matter of fact, that you can call to get a risk assessment. The carriers are there as well, typically till 5 p.m. Eastern. So you can get on the phone and get a risk assessment and basically break it down to your manager and say, okay, I'm with John and Mary right now, and he takes these medications and has had these procedures and has these health conditions, and that's where we'll be able to guide you as to what product and how much coverage to present to the family. And with that hit the ground running approach, that's the way I was able to get quick traction, because I didn't know all the products, and sitting down and taking 2 weeks to study it certainly wouldn't help as much as getting out into the field and experiencing it firsthand. So in a mortgage appointment, for me, when it comes down to helping the family and showing a program, in my opinion, there's 3 levels of coverage. You can either cover the entire mortgage, you can cover half the mortgage, or you can cover a year or 2's mortgage payments. And I refer to that as critical period coverage. So the whole mortgage is real simple. You owe $300,000, we'll give you $300,000, typically on a cashback program with Meaike. It's a great product, and everybody's happy. We call it a day. But of course, many times we're running into families that either their age or their health or their budget is going to be prohibitive. So I can tell you 9 out of 10 times I'm not protecting the entire mortgage. So how do we bring added value to the table? So when it comes to half the mortgage, the way I would posture it is I always start off when it's time to actually show a quotation, and I've got all the details here. I would explain to them, okay, John and Mary, most importantly, if this makes sense at all, it has to meet your needs and your budget. And I don't know what your budget is, so I'm just going to show you something. Of course, you could look at less, or you could look at more. So these coverages, of course, are based on our age and our health, and as we get older, our health changes and the price goes up. So a lot of my families, as a starting point, might look at half the mortgage. Because in time, you're going to pay the mortgage down, down, down. You're not going to owe so much. But God forbid, if something should happen to be tomorrow, the family could take that money, $150,000, pay down the mortgage, and then hypothetically refi, and then instead of $2,000 a month, you could potentially lower your monthly mortgage payment to $1,000 a month. Much easier to handle on a single family budget if I'm not around, right? So then, of course, if I'm showing the HMS or a term product, I would show them $150,000, and I would spell it out for them. So I would write down $187,500 as the accidental, and then I put $150,000, which is half the mortgage if the mortgage is $300,000, on a 30-year term, and then I'd list out the price. And then the third line below that, I would write out cash back equals, and that would be the monthly payment times 12 times 30 years. And then once I write down the total cash back, next to it I'd write tax-free. I do that for the husband and wife, and then, and then I close it. So the third option is the one that has a couple more sentences, but again, it's building added value around what we can do and not what we can't do, right? So that's important because, I can't just walk into the house and they have a $300,000 mortgage and I'll say, Bob, Mary, because of your age and your health, and I'm not going to be able to give you $300,000, but I can give you 30. It's not as appetizing, right? So again, I start by saying, Bob, most importantly, if this makes sense, it has to meet your needs and your budget. And I don't know what your budget is, so I'm just going to show you something. You could opt for less, or you could look at more. Now, these coverages are based on our age and our health, and as we mature, the price goes up and our health changes. So most of my families, again, that's like the herd mentality, right? Most of my families, because everybody wants to do what everybody else is doing. Most of my families are really just interested in a simple piece of critical period coverage as a starting point, right? So what's that? It's just a way to get a piece of protection that could act like a buffer, so that God forbid if I'm not here, that it could help out with the mortgage in that tough time. So let's take a look, and then I'll explain it to them. You're paying $1,000 a month for your mortgage. That's $12,000 a year. So $25,000 is not going to make anybody rich, but it would be enough to pay the mortgage for 2 years. Because let's face it, when people pass away, it's tragic. There's all these bills that start coming out of nowhere, and somebody's got to pay the mortgage, right? So again, I would write it out for them. For example, if it was an Eagle Premier, a whole life, for $25,000, I would write $25,000, lifetime, and the price, $90. And of course, the Eagle Premier comes with 100% of accidental on top, so below that, I would write $25,000 accidental. And if you want, you could subtotal and say $50,000 in case of an accident, right? That just makes it more full-bodied. So again, that's a simple approach to bring some added value to a situation where people's health and age and budget can become prohibitive, right? So I was actually able to help a family this week, and as I do most weeks, with this kind of coverage. I sat down with a woman. She's a great lady. She's been in the teaching profession for 30 years, and she'd retired, and she had a $300,000 mortgage. In fact, she had it all planned out, and I helped to discuss with her and discovered that, okay, she recently got her house refinanced, so when people refinance their home, it's natural that the house is appraised. So she knew the value of her home, and the house was worth practically double what she owed the bank. So the house was worth $600,000, and in fact, that would spell out the equity, right? If the house is worth $600,000 and you owe the bank $3, if I were to pass away and sell this place for any reason, then if you paid back the bank, you'd have $300,000 in equity, and that, in fact, is the gift. I'll point it out to them. It's very transparent. That would be the gift for your daughter. But the daughter, in fact, lived in Florida, and we're here on the West Coast. So I helped to build the why as I was presenting to her the various options, and we discovered that her daughter was a musician and a professional musician, and she's doing well. But of course, you're not a millionaire. If you're a professional musician, that's what my dad told me when I was a kid. You won't be a millionaire unless you're a rock star. And in fact, God forbid, if something were to happen to the mom, the daughter would have to take time off of work, round up the kids, take them out of school, get airfare, fly out to the West Coast, put up somewhere, and then take the time that's going to be needed to lay her to rest, liquidate everything in the house, clean it up, and sell the place. So I explained to her, even to sell a place, you need to find the right broker, put it on the market, and go through escrow. Yeah? And that all takes time. And somebody's got to pay the mortgage. If you don't, you could foreclose. Or just as bad, you might have to be in a fire sale. You see it too many times when, God forbid, when people pass away. It's tragic, but there's a lot to do. And if you don't have the time that you need to liquidate the house, and you're scrambling to make the mortgage payments in the midst of somebody's passing, it could be a mess. So this way, you would help the daughter by giving her this liquid cash that would really act as a cushion to buy her some time to make her way out here and take care of what needed to be taken care of. And that made perfect sense to her. So I was able to help her with a whole life solution. And it was a fraction of what she owed on the mortgage. But again, it would be just enough, as a gesture and a helping hand to make sure that the gift, which is the equity of the house, was going to be able to, we were able to leverage it out and give them some time to get over their mourning. So in a nutshell, the critical period coverage is one of the techniques that I've used successfully in closing on these type of situations. So, I'd like to again, if you'd like to get copies of the inventory sheet, we'd like to get them out to you and make it a good week. And we'll talk to you soon.
Hey guys, my name is Shelly Mason. I'm part of the John Whitmore crew of the East Coast team down here in ATL. I've been with Family First Life for about 9 months now, and it's been pretty exhilarating. I never imagined that I would be making money like this, or being able to have my own schedule and be my own boss, and just really do the things that I wanted to do and maintain a business and be a mom. So I just feel so blessed that I was able to come upon Family First Life. Prior to Family First Life, I was with another IMO, which, as y'all heard, they take half your comp, which is true. They have the smoke and mirrors where they lure you in by all these submit numbers and, but don't show not one issue paid number. They charged me for all my training. I mean, I had to charge I had to pay for my CRM. You can only buy their leads, and their leads were like, sold 4 or 5 times before you get them. The top producers always got the leads first, and then we got what was left over. So that was horrible. It's horrific for, someone coming into this industry new and having to deal with that. So if you're a new agent and you're new to the industry and you've landed FFL first, you should feel so lucky and so blessed, because most agents don't get to this comp until years. They have to have full agencies. It's crazy. So, and FFL offers it straight from the get-go, which is awesome because, you actually can make some real money. You can get in here and actually make the 100K that you were talking about, or, as for FFL, it's kind of the low right now. But I just wanted to, get on here and just share some tips and stuff that I've learned along my journey being with FFL for about 9 months now. Just some things that maybe can help some new agents and help them get going, and or even for some agents that are, been doing this for a while and still just haven't got their niche to where they can, make the big bucks or whatnot. Or if you're comfortable where you're at, then stay where you're at. But as for me, sky's the limit. I want to try to make as much money as possible while I'm able to, while I'm healthy enough to, and provide the best for my children. So I wanted to talk about some pivoting, I guess you could say, with in-home. I guess that's one of the biggest things that I've learned about in-home is learning how to pivot and when to pivot. So we have these final expense leads, and all the objections, they're all the same. I thought it was free, or I just wanted pricing, or I already got coverage, or my kids are going to pay for it. All that BS, that they tell you all the time. And you know what I do when they tell me? I just ignore it. I act like I didn't even hear it, and I'm just like, okay. And I could just continue on with my inventory sheet. I just keep on going down, because what I'm looking for is an opportunity. I'm looking for a need that they're not aware of yet. they think, oh, I got my burial paid for. It's, it's good. I got this policy right here. And, as before where I used to think, I'm like, really? These people have called me out here. They already got a policy. Why am I here? Why would they make an appointment with me? So I started to think, like, there's got to be more. I mean, even though they say they don't need any more, I knew there had to be more. There was a reason I was there. And so I just started digging. I started asking more questions. John Whitmore says all the time, ask more questions. You have to get to the root cause. And so what I started discovering is, if they've got burial, let's say it's legit, it's good. Well, okay, there's other opportunities there. You've got mortgage protection. Well, she's 60 years old. She may still have a mortgage. Did you ask her that? Does she have any debt in the home? And at that point, then you could pivot to mortgage protection from a final expense. Or with final expense, or with mortgage protection, you could pivot into adding more burial. Mortgage protection, I found my most annuities. And you can pivot from there. I went to a home where the lady, she had coverage already. We called, we made sure it was legit. It didn't expire until she was 100 years old. It was $100,000. It was a universal life. I was like, okay, you're covered. You're good. And so, I started asking more questions. I'm like, so do you have anything else that acts like life insurance? And she's like, well, yeah, I've got this retirement that's just been sitting, and I'm like, oh, so let me show you something about that, and that's where you learn to pivot. If just because you meet one roadblock and they've got that taken care of doesn't mean there might not be another door that can open for you. So that's why you've got to get good at asking questions and keep asking questions, and don't show pricing until they need it. Don't just show pricing for the heck of it. I don't show pricing unless I'm convinced that they actually need this and this is something that's going to benefit them. Even though if they've got funeral plans already and they've got their insurance for their burial, and it's a good price and I can't beat it, I'm not showing them any prices. I'm not just going to say, hey, well, here's my prices. No, that makes no sense at all. I'm packing it up, I'm going. Guess what? I got 10 more appointments to go to. I ain't got time for this. I got to see somebody that needs some real help, But now we can offer in ReliaShield, so if you're not doing that, you're missing out on that opportunity too. So it's where I had one lady that was 84. She had mortgage protection already. I got out there and did my inventory sheet, and she's like, "Yeah, I think I already got that." And I was like, "Okay, well, you obviously, we're looking for some more." Or she's like, "Yeah, but I lost my job, and she was only on $1,000 a month income." And I was like, "Well, there's not really a whole lot that I can do for her." But then we have ReliaShield, so I said, I told her a story. I told her a story about actually my mother-in-law's sister. She had a $1 million annuity a year. She was getting paid $1 million a year off her annuity. It was lifetime income forever. Well, she started talking to her husband died and she got lonely, so she started doing these Match.coms and all this craziness that older lonely women do, I guess. But come to find out, the guy that she was talking to was not even a U.S. citizen. He didn't have a green card. He scammed her. Somehow he got her signature and was able to apply the signatures to the annuity and took all of her funds, and it was like millions of dollars that was taken from her. And now she has nothing. Nothing. I mean, she's having to sell her home. She sold all of her cars. I mean, she was a millionaire. She had lots of money, but in order for her to survive, she has to sell everything now. And I told that story to that lady, and she was like, "Oh, that could happen to me." And she was just about to sell her land. She had about 80 acres in the back, and she was going to sell it for $600,000. And that was another annuity on the way too. But instead, I offered identity theft protection. I was like, "You're going to need this. You're very vulnerable." She lived by herself with a grandchild, and she knew she needed it. So we signed her right on up, and it was, that was the only sale I could make out of that home, but I was at least able to help her. And so pivoting is huge in the home, and just because you hit one roadblock or one door shuts doesn't mean that there's not another one that may open for you, okay? So I hope this helps with everything. I hope any new agents are able to use this and apply it out there in the field. And so Thanks so much for having me on, and y'all have a great day. Bye.
I'm Chantel Blash, and I'm the new Medicare Director for Family First Life Inc. And I am going to be coming to your town to talk to you about Medicare and Medicare Supplement. So I'm going to be traveling the country, meeting with the VPs, and getting you guys started. And I just want to give you a little bit of background on myself. I started with Medicare maybe a little less than a year and a half ago. And how I found out about this was there was a big need for it, and I thought, I want to try this. So I went out there, I met with clients, and I realized how little our clients know about Medicare and Medicare Supplement. So what I did was I attended the trainings from the different carriers, I watched webinars, I was pretty much self-taught and self-trained. And I realized by doing these trainings, I learned more and more. So when I was in home, I had the opportunity to explain Medicare to our final expense clients, to our mortgage protection clients, because remember, our mortgage protection clients are aging as well. So when I walked in there and I had this knowledge and I was able to help these people, I walked out as their hero. Because when they're turning 65, they're so overwhelmed. I had one client who told me, Chantel, I have 90 pieces of mail here. What am I going to do with this? And she had a big stack, and I said, look, Mary, don't even worry about that. I'm here right now. I understand Medicare, and when I leave, you're going to understand what you need, and I'm going to help you. So I got really excited about this, and I just kind of took the ball and started running. And I looked into my existing book of business, and I found my clients, and I just talked to them and introduced them to this. And it is not very difficult. Keep in mind, when you're sitting there with that final expense client, boy, that's a great Medicare supplement opportunity. So we have a lot of different carriers with our company. Americo is one of our favorite carriers, and I just happen to be here with the Americo people, so I'd like to introduce them. We've got Andrew and Caitlin, and they're going to talk to you a little bit about Medicare Supplement. And remember, they are our partner, and we want 2 a week from you guys. Not more than 2. 2 is our goal, because if you just do Medicare Supplement, you're going to go broke. So let's talk to Caitlin and Andrew.
Absolutely.
Hey Andrew, welcome.
Thank you for having us. So I wanted to talk to you just a minute and maybe just talk back and forth a little bit about America, about who we are and what we're good at.
Okay.
Right? So we want to talk a lot about Medicare Supplement.
All right.
So you've given us your background, that's fantastic. So one of the things that we're excited to do is partner with you as it relates to the training.
Okay.
So I know you mentioned you're going to be flying all over the country doing different trainings with the VPs and a lot of the agents.
Absolutely.
And what can we do to help you? What can we do to assist you?
Well, what you can do to assist us is having your webinars available to us. Okay. Let's talk about some of the things that are available through Americo. Did you know you can write an e-app with Americo and get instant approval on your Medicare Supplement?
Absolutely. So that's something that makes us unique in this market, in the Medicare Supplement market. A lot of you know us because of the life side and how we do instant decision on both our final expense and also on our term series. But on Medicare Supplement, we're one of the few companies out there, if the only company out there, that does a true 100% instant decision. So what that means is when you're in the home with a client, the whole process takes about 8 to 9 minutes and you're done. You're able to write a client right there. Again, we talk about writing just 2 policies a week is the goal.
Absolutely.
So 2 policies a week, and if it takes 8, 9, maybe 10 minutes, you're asking me for another 20 minutes a week in sales time to get 2 policies sold. So you're going to get an instant decision, whether it's early in the morning, whether it's during the day, or whether it's in the evening, or even on the weekends. I know a lot of business is done late at night or on the weekends. You're going to get that instant decision with America through our Medicare Supplement.
Great. Now, does this count for a U bonus? Can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So everybody's very familiar with America's U First bonus. The U First bonus on the life side, and now we have a U First bonus on the Medicare Supplement side as well. So the Youth First bonus on the Medicare supplement side works a little bit differently than it does on the life side. So what we look for is 30,000 in paid production. So it's on the life side, it's 35,000. So it's 30,000 in paid production on the Medicare supplement side, but we need 65% of that business to be underwritten.
Okay.
And so if 65% is underwritten with at least 30,000 in paid production, we pay you a 10% bonus, not an 8%. 8% is on the life side. We wanted to do it even better on the Medicare supplement side, so we raised it to 10% instead of 8%.
Okay, awesome. Now, something that's also kind of exciting that nobody talks about with Medicare supplement is how many chargebacks do people really get with Medicare supplement?
That's a great question, yeah.
Now, I'm going to let Kaylin answer this. I just want to say this right now. Out of my whole book of business, on one hand, I can talk about how many chargebacks that I personally have gotten. And one, I had a client who died. And so, therefore, they charged me back. Okay, that was legitimate. He was on the policy. He only had a policy for a month, so that was kind of legitimate. But for the most part, I don't get any chargebacks. So, Kaylin, let's talk a little bit about this.
That's a great question. So the persistency on Medicare supplement business is very high. You're not seeing a lot of lapses or anything like that, so there are very few chargebacks.
Great. Now, something else that I wanted to mention was Medicare supplement is something that everybody needs to have. Okay? This is not a choice. When you're turning 65 and you've retired from your job, you need to have some kind of insurance. So when we help a client with a Medicare supplement plan, we are not selling them anything. What we are doing is helping them with their insurance. So this is not even a sale. This, I always say, I don't sell Medicare. If you ask me, do you sell Medicare? Absolutely not. I go in and I help people with their Medicare. And there are a lot of choices out here, but what is one of the main pluses with America?
For selling Medicare.
Yeah, their cost.
Absolutely. So,
They're so competitive.
you're going to find we have great rates in all of the states that we're in. The second thing you're going to find is our household discount. So a household discount for us is 10%. So what that means is that if the client qualifies, if they're living with somebody else, there's a few criteria there, but if they qualify, it takes 10% off of their annual premium. So when you think about that, that's a big number when you're talking about in the Medicare supplement space.
Absolutely.
So the overall package, when we can give you an instant decision, do the e-application, the whole process takes, again, right around that 10-minute mark, and we give you the household discount that's very strong if the client qualifies, and that helps qualify you for a You First bonus.
Awesome.
We think that overall package works very well, and we think that's why we're so excited to be able to partner with you and help you in every step of the way. Again, just achieving that 2 policies per week, we think that's very attainable, and we want to do everything we can to support you and to support Family First to make sure that we get this done.
Okay, something else that we need to bring to your attention with a Medicare supplement plan is passive income. We're talking about residual income. This is not a one-time sale. This continues on as your passive income. So, we all have been no-showed. We've had a couple of tough days out there in the insurance industry. But when you are helping people with their Medicare supplement 2 a week, let me tell you, that money is going to be passive income, and you're going to see that every month. The other thing I really want to mention is Medicare supplement plans. That client is waiting for you to show up to their house, okay? That is not a no-show or I got porched today. I can count on one hand how many times that out of all of my client base that I've been no-showed or porched for Medicare supplement. I picked up the phone, I was with one of my agents, helping them, and we called up the guy, he wasn't there. And the guy's like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Please, please, please. He begged us to wait. He was there in 15 minutes, showed up, and we helped him with our Medicare. So keep this in mind.
Exactly.
Okay?
Seniors know that they need health coverage, and they're waiting for you to sell their Medicare supplement.
And they don't understand it.
It's an easy sell.
Okay? And one other thing that we want to talk to you about when you are sitting there with that senior who's retiring, they're turning 65, all right? Okay. We just want you out there, and we want you to remember ReliaShield, annuities, final expense. It all goes hand in hand, IULs, okay? Perfect. Well, welcome aboard, and we're so excited to be doing this.
Hey, good morning, Family First Life. My name is Danielle Byrne. I am the Senior Vice President of Family First Life Legacy, and I'm going to jump right into it this morning. Thanks for having me on. I have been dialing for a long time, so I feel like I have a lot to offer in the realm of phone objections, lead types, and being able to book an appointment regardless of the age of the lead and regardless of the type of the lead. So I think what's most important first and foremost is to talk about how rare it is that we receive a lead. We take for granted at Family First Life that we have the ability to go onto a CRM and just purchase leads at whim. And I don't think we realize exactly how rare it is for somebody to fill out one of these forms, okay? It is less than 1% of a return when somebody actually looks at one of these forms and thinks enough of it to fill it in and to walk out to their mailbox, put it in the mailbox, and mail it back to us. Or even an internet lead. Now, because of technology and the way things go these days, it seems so easy that we just get these internet leads, but I don't think we really have any idea how many people actually have to see that advertisement for somebody to follow through with and put their name and their contact information in and then click submit on something. So I think it's important for us first to understand, before we even start dialing, the psychology of the consumer before we start to dial, and then the psychology that we need to have before we pick up the phone and dial. It is absolutely critical that you understand that these people have asked you for help. They've already asked for help. We need to pick up the phone and find a good time where we can go over and get them help. That is it. Nothing good happens on the phone other than setting the appointment. I personally do not ask health questions on the phone. If your upline tells you to do something different, then by all means do something different. But I don't ask health questions on the phone because frankly, I don't care. I just want to book the appointment. So, that being said, remember, less than 1% return for all leads. If you get over a percent return, that's just a fluke. It's just a high return. So remember, for someone to fill this out and send it back into the office, or send it back into your vendor, or fill it out and click submit online, or anything, the person is already interested. Your job on the phone is to capture that moment when they were interested, capitalize on that moment, and then create the desire and the effectiveness in there to book that appointment, okay? So that is first and foremost, okay? These people have asked for help, and we need to help them. Second, your tone on the phone and the posture with which you carry yourself on the phone is more important than what you say. You could have every single word verbatim like I say it, and it won't be as effective if you don't say it the way I say it, okay? So that's very important. I do consider myself a very effective dialer, and I have a good sit ratio, so I do feel like I can add a lot of value here with you guys and hopefully get you booking more appointments. You could say that it's also important to really internalize the fact that the people we are calling are constantly being bombarded by telemarketers and by other forms of people trying to get their business, and you have to remember that. You have to remember that when they pick up the phone, that's your opportunity to strike. If you do not get them in that moment, the chances of you getting them back on the phone are very, very rare. So I'm going to use this final expense mailer first and just go through what I would say on a regular final expense mailer. I am not going to go down the objections yet, because if your tone and your posture is correct, you shouldn't be getting objections. But if you do get them, you're going to know how to handle them today. So this lady's name is Jeannie, last name Brooks, okay? So her husband's name here is John. So I'm just taking a glance at that and I'm looking, okay? And I can see already that they're 67 and 59, and I know that I should be able to make an appointment during the day with them. So I'm going to try and fit them during the day on my schedule. Okay. So when they answer the phone, it is extremely important that when they answer the phone, if it's a female, I'm just going to assume that it's Jeannie. If it's a male, I'm going to assume that it's John. Those are fair assumptions. I don't know you, but chances are you don't have some other male or female answering your phone. Okay? So female answers the phone, I'm very, very confident in the way that I'm going to sound. I already know her. Jeannie? Yeah, she's going to say yes. This is Danielle Byrne. Immediately I say, I'm getting back to you. Okay? So we want to take the guard down immediately and say, I'm getting back to you. That is so important because immediately you're differentiating yourself between the person who's trying to get their business as a telemarketer, somebody they didn't ask for help on, and then somebody who did ask for your help. Okay, so Jeannie, yes, this is Danielle Byrne. I'm getting back to you about the card, okay, final expense. You want to remember that seniors are very particular about their details and the things that they have done, okay? They usually don't forget if they've put in a request of some kind or filled out a form and then sent it back in. They don't forget. So I'm getting back to you about the card you filled out and sent back into my office for the information on the state-regulated final expense plan. That is what I say. Okay? Remember, I sound like I know her. Jeannie, a lot of times, it's funny because I've been doing this a while. A lot of times some people will go, yeah, like I'm a friend, you know? So, Jeannie, yeah, this is Danielle Byrne. I'm getting back to you about the card that you filled out and sent back into my office about the state-regulated final expense plan. 9 times out of 10, if you've done that part correctly, they will go, oh, yeah. I don't care if they've done it a month ago, 3 months ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it is, they should say, oh, yeah. Okay, now again, this first one that I'm going through here is just somebody that's not giving me any objections. So, oh, yeah. Okay, I just need to, then I take control. I just need to verify the information that you wrote down. Now, the psychology here is critical. You wrote down this information. I am the one getting you the information, okay? You wrote down this information. You mailed this card back to me. My job is real simple, okay? So, I just need to verify the information that you wrote down on this card. You put you were 67, then they'll go, yeah, and John is 59. Yes, that's correct. Your address is 123 Main Street, right there in Chesapeake, Virginia. Is that also correct? Yes. You want to get them saying yes and agreeing as much as possible on the phone so that when you tell them that you are coming by, that's a yes too. It's just the natural progression of things. That is a yes. Okay, so Jeannie, you're 67. Yes. John, you're 59. Yes. I've got you at 123 Main Street, right there in Chesapeake. Yes. Once you've got that agreement on board, then you are going to say, my job is real simple. That's me. That's what Danielle Byrne does, okay? My job is real simple. I always want them to know that my job is real simple. Just like getting the life insurance is real simple. Just like getting the annuity is real simple. Just like the Medicare coverage, it's real simple. My job is real simple. Okay. My job is real simple. I'm the representative that is responsible for getting you this information. They have me scheduled in your area on Tuesday. Are you still working or are you retired? Right there, I know what appointment slot to offer them. Oh, we're both still working. Oh, we're both retired. Take control of your schedule. You cannot be busier than the client. That's very important. Take control of your schedule. Or excuse me, the client can't be busier than you. That's what I'm trying to say. The client can't be busier than you. You need to take control of your schedule. So if you say, for example, Jeannie, are you retired or still working? And she says, I'm retired, but John's still working. Okay, perfect. Listen, my job is real simple. I'm the one who's going to be bringing you this information. Is John usually home from work and settled between 5 and 6 or 6 and 7? I'm only giving her 2 choices of a time frame because she's going to pick one. I never, ever, ever, ever ask what time they are available, because that will cause a loss of control on the phone. You will absolutely lose control, and then you will not get the appointment. So, then I'm verifying what, and then she's picking what slot. Is John usually home between 5 and 6 or 6 and 7? She says between 6 and 7. I say, okay, perfect. Listen, they have me out in Chesapeake on Tuesday. I will be there between 6 and 7, and I will make sure that I get this information out to you. If I feel any hesitation in the appointment, then I will start to ask for identifiers for the appointment so that they can visualize me coming to the home. So for example, hey Jeannie, listen, and I'm always selling time on the phone. I am selling time. What do I mean by that? I am telling them that I don't have a lot of it, okay? Hey Jeannie, listen, I have to be in and out of about 15 families' homes that day. If you could just tell me, is there a color car in the driveway I can look for? I just need to make sure that I can get in and out as quick as possible. You do not want this appointment to sound like it's a big deal, because it's not, okay? You want Jeannie and John to know that you're coming over to the house, you're going to show them exactly what they qualify for, and you are not going to take forever. That is important when you are setting the appointment. Okay. Perfect. Yes, it's a blue Ford Focus. Okay, great. Yes, I'm going to be driving a black 4-door sedan. Okay. All right. Perfect. So I'll see you between 6 and 7. And once again, my name is Danielle Byrne. I'm licensed by the state of Virginia, and I will be making sure I get this information out to you. Then they agree, and you hang up the phone. Okay. So that's my final expense script. Now, the common objections that you could get for a final expense script would be something like the following. Oh, I didn't fill anything out. Okay, so if somebody says that they didn't fill anything out, what I do then is I blow past it as though they've said something like the sky is blue. Okay, so I don't care what they say on the phone because I'm booking the appointment. It doesn't matter to me what they say. So, oh, I didn't fill anything out. So then I start to explain what it was that came in the mail so that I can solidify the fact that I already know that they filled something out. I'm not getting into a back and forth of, oh, you didn't fill anything out. I don't personally do that whole, I need to make sure that it was you for insurance fraud. I don't go down that road. If your manager tells you to go down that road, then by all means go down that road. I don't, because I'm not getting into a back and forth with somebody on the phone because I will lose, and I know that, okay? So, for example, let's say that Jeannie says that she didn't fill anything out, okay? Jeannie, yes, hey, this is Danielle Byrne. I'm getting back to you about the card you filled out and sent back into my office for the state-regulated final expense plan. Oh, I didn't fill anything out. Okay, Jeannie, it's written in black pen here. At the top it says 2019 benefit information for Virginia citizens only. And the way you write your J is you have a really big hook on the bottom, and then you put your A, it was like a capital A. Is this ringing a bell at all, Jeannie? And then once I start to explain the way that it was written out to her, a lot of times they'll say something like, oh, I did do that. Okay, or they'll say, I mean, they normally don't continue to stick to their story once I've started talking about their handwriting. Okay, now there's other ways that you can handle this when it's a Facebook lead or if it's an internet lead or something like that. But when it's a direct mail lead, I mean, you can really get them in the chokehold by just explaining what their handwriting looked out like. Or for example, are you sure? Because it was written in pink pen, Jeannie. I mean, I don't. You must have some pink pen at home. I mean, I got this back into my office. You mailed this back into my office. Okay, so either by rereading the card or stating what they wrote, you wrote, okay, you wrote John's middle initial was A, you wrote that he was 59, okay, and then I will, do some identifying information from the mailer. Now, sometimes they put one of those like sticky address labels on there, and so I'll be like, there's a cardinal on your address label, you know, or something along those lines. And then they go, okay, yeah, I did do it, okay? So that's how I handle if they say they didn't fill anything out. Now, just to be respectful of time, I'm going to also move on to that objection if, for example, it's a Facebook lead or if it's an internet lead, okay? So if it's a Facebook lead, I'm going to say there was an advertisement that popped up that was on Facebook, and it was for the state-regulated burial programs for Virginia, or it was for the state-regulated final expense plan for Virginia. You filled out that information, and you simply wanted the information on the programs that you qualify for. And then that'll like jog their memory, oh yeah, I did do that. I did do that. So a lot of times I'm just restating what they did, because their knee-jerk reaction sometimes could be that they didn't do it because they just don't want to engage with somebody that has called, because they still think that I might be a telemarketer because of my tonality or something that I said. So didn't fill anything out. It just doesn't stick with me. It doesn't land with me. It just means that I have to do a little bit more verifying on the phone. Okay. Let's see if we can group some of these together for sake of time. And I just want to repeat this again, because if you don't take anything away from this training today, I need you to understand the more information that you verify when you are on the phone with the lead, the more information that you verify that they did, the more credibility you have on the phone, okay? So, let's see here. We've got didn't fill anything out. We've got not interested. I mean, I can tell you I probably handle that the same exact way as I would handle didn't fill anything out. I mean, if I'm like, Jeannie, and she says, yeah, I said, this is Danielle Byrne, I'm getting back to you about the card you filled out and sent back into my office. Chances are she's not gonna say not interested. I just don't get that. I mean, I normally don't get people saying that they're not interested. It just doesn't happen. I will sometimes get, well, we already took care of that, especially if it's a Facebook lead. My answer to that always, no matter what, is perfect. That's the reason I'm calling. I'm glad that you already took care of it. I still do need to clear up my end of the file. So I'm just going to go ahead and verify the information that you wrote down here or that you filled in here. And then I just breeze through and continue with setting the appointment. How much does it cost? When somebody asks how much it costs, a lot of times I will shift into a third party dialer. So how much does it cost? Listen, you know what? I'm not exactly sure about the costs associated with the program, but I know that Danielle can tell you all about that. I'm just actually the one who has her schedule and dispatches her out to a certain area for certain days of the week. So I will use that third party dialing if somebody's asking me how much it costs. Why can't you just mail it? So a lot of times what I say, if it's somebody says, why can't you could just throw it in the mailbox, or why can't you just mail it? I'll say, Jeannie, this is a state, and my answer always goes back to the same simple thing. This is a state regulated program. So I do need to verify your identity and ask you a couple health questions. And once I do that, I can tell you exactly what you qualify for. So that is, what I do when somebody says, why can't you just mail it? I just let them know that I can't mail it. Now, I don't know my schedule. Now, a lot of times when somebody says they don't know their schedule, that is just a bunch of baloney. What they normally mean is that they just kind of don't want you to come over. So I will say, and I will normally double book this appointment, but if someone says they don't know their schedule, I will say, well, listen, I say, what is the latest that you're typically home? Okay, I will say, what is the latest that you're typically home? They will answer me. They'll say something like 7 o'clock, and I'll say, listen, I don't have anything at 7. I'm always taking away on the phone, and I'm always selling time on the phone. I don't have anything at 7, but I do have a 7:30. So listen, on Tuesday night, I will be there about between 7:30 and 8. Okay, and please just make sure you're there. Now, depending on how they sound on the phone, sometimes I will double book that appointment just based on how standoffish they seem, because there are people that will lay down during the phone script and then they will just no-show you. Okay, And then last, I'm going to close with, I'm busy, can you call back, or I'm in a meeting, or I'm at work. First of all, why did you pick up the phone if you were doing any of those things anyway? And it's just that you want to get off the phone because it's me, okay? So, this is important. I will take a quick set over no appointment any day of the week, okay? So it's important. If somebody says, I'm busy, can you call me back? I will agree with them immediately. Listen, I'm very busy too. And then I will jump right to the appointment setting. Listen, I'm busy too. I'm just getting back to you about that card you filled out. I just want to make sure that when I'm in the area tomorrow after 5, that you will be home to receive that information. And 9 times out of 10, they will agree with you quickly. And then you will be able to get into that appointment or to that home, at a later date. So hopefully that gives you guys a lot of information to go off of now. And of course, you guys can find me on Facebook and ask me questions. I'm not shy about helping anybody that asks. So, send me a Facebook message. But that is Danielle Byrne on dialing objections and phone script. And I'm here to help if you guys have any other questions. Thanks.